Doing? I'm here at the airport. Trying to keep it quiet, but also want to go live because there's a lot going on right now. I'm sure you guys have seen the news. I'm sure you're watching the news like we do. Binge watchman watching. Found this kind of quiet area.
Please do not leave items unattended. Report any unattended bags and suspicious behavior to the nearest airport employee, law enforcement officer, or TSA representative.
People get in the chat here.
Unattended items will
You're gonna
be
have to
confiscated
hear these
and may be destroyed.
annoying announcements. Wow, there's a whole wing of the airport over here that's like empty. This is dope. This is super dope. So yeah, I've been binge watching the news, and it's been pretty crazy as I go out to the furthest end of this airport to try to get a little quiet. But I'm boarding my plane in 30 minutes. But I just had to come on and talk to you guys because, like, what? We're about to go home. We're about to board the real plane, the last plane. Yeah, this is crazy. All right, it's really quiet over here, but I'm talking loud. All right, I gotta try to talk quiet. Yeah, this is crazy out here. How y'all doing? What up, Solar Clips? What up, Duds? How you guys feeling? Yo, Rapture is so soon. So soon. This weekend. Pentecost weekend is so wild. You know? Wild because of the significance of Pentecost. But also wild because of what's going on in the news. So Trump has been threatening Iran. And today, he just went on a phone call with all the Arab leaders and Netanyahu, his boss, Trump's boss, and our de facto king, as we are the United States of our greatest ally. The United States of our greatest ally. Could you imagine Britain did some of the things that Israel does to us back in the day when we revolted against them? They made a tax on tea. They revolted for tax on tea. Could you imagine that Britain demanded us to send our troops to die for their cause? Demanded that we give them trillions of dollars? You think we'd throw them off our backs, wouldn't you? Yeah, that's that old spirit of Americana that's pretty much dead and gone, thanks largely to the right wing and the church. Because the church essentially tells you to, you know, like Romans says, just do whatever your leaders say. And here we are, even though Jesus Christ was one of the first, potentially, of the civil disobedience movement. He threw out the money changers. So anyway, Trump's on that 10-way call or whatever it is with the Arab leaders and Netanyahu of Israel, and they're trying to make a deal. There's no deal. There's never going to be a deal. Why do they do this? Many reasons. It messes with the markets. It makes people a lot of money. Also, it makes us look like the good guys. So when we bomb the crap out of Iran, which we are about to do, I predict probably tomorrow on Pentecost, maybe we'll be raptured then, that it'll make it look like, oh, well, we tried our best. We gave them all these offers and all these great deals, and those savages, you know, like the way they talk about Iran is so ridiculous. I was just hearing it might have been Fox News or some other, the way they talk about Iran is like such war propaganda. They're just using words like terrorists and crazy, and they can't be reasoned with. You know, the only language they understand is bombs. Like, these people are absolutely disgusting. To talk about another nation, you know, a group of people that way, you're racist. That's racism. How can you speak like that about someone and to just get away with it? Same old story. Sick of being here, guys. I'm ready to go. What about y'all? Yep, Dud says I think something big is about to happen. Exactly. This weekend is feeling it. You're seeing it.
Ashley O'Neill, Ashley, please pick up a white courtesy phone or go to any information booth. Ashley O'Neill.
Yeah, so you guys are going to have to hear the announcements here. Sorry about that. Man, the airport is always so loud. My mom said my little sister Jessica.
John O'Neill, John. Please pick up a white courtesy phone or go to any information booth. John O'Neill.
She said my sister loves the airport for some reason ever since she was a kid. She's like, yeah, she's weird. Like, she thinks it's like going to the mall or something. So ever since she was a kid, she has loved to go to the airport. Hey, what's up, Akira? Akira in the house. How you doing? Haven't seen you in forever. How's it going? Where you been? Haven't seen you in my live, sister. Still watching? Still ready? I know you're not into dates, but Pentecost is looking interesting. But definitely the times, like watching every day is very wise right now, whether it's Pentecost or not Pentecost. I just saw a video, was going to post it, talking about how if Sunday passes, that somehow some calculation puts Pentecost actually at the end of the month of May. And he didn't explain, it was from Bubba News, who I just discovered. I've heard about him, but for some reason I haven't been subscribed to him. I haven't never seen his videos until today. So I watched that video twice. He gave a lot of good information. So he lays out like 5 or 10 news stories and connects them to the Bible. And he was saying that if the rapture doesn't happen on Pentecost, but he thinks it definitely could, that Pentecost extends to the 31st. And I said in the comments, please explain more. Somebody else commented under me and said, yeah, same here. Please explain. So, hey, what's up, Kimberly? How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for checking in. What's up, Herman? He said, yo, what's up, man? How's it going? Good to see you. And got your message, bro. And I gotta put it away from my eyes to read this small print. WXXNY. What's up? How's it going? Is that New York? No, I don't work in a call center, but I'm actually catching a plane right now. I'm in where the hell am I? I'm in Denver, Colorado. It sucks. You fly to a place and you don't even get out of the airport. It's late. It's like I'm in Denver. I've never been to Denver before. I want to experience it. And I'm looking out and all I see is like fields and flat land. And that's probably what it is. Now I'm flying. So, yeah, then I'm flying to this other spot, and then my friend's picking me up from the airport. She's like 2 hours from the airport. So the place I'm eventually trying to get to is 2 hours from any airport. Oh, Lord have mercy. That means 2 hours from civilization. That's what that means to me. Told my mom, she's like, so you're in the sticks. You're in the boondocks. It's like, yep. That's what we call those places in New Jersey, right? When you're from New Jersey, you say stuff like that. Oh, that's in the sticks. I was like, yeah, it's like Deliverance, man. But hey, never know. Could be cool. Hey, what's up, Chris? Yeah, sure. You can.
Madison, Laura, Madison. Please pick up a white courtesy phone or go to any information booth.
You can confess
Madison,
anything you
Laura.
like, but within reason, please. Don't confess to any major, anything major that people might, there might be mandated reporters on the call. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's up? Yadrini? I think I said that wrong, but oh my gosh, they make the print so small on the phone with the live. That's what sucks. Like, it's so much better to go live on my computer. I gotta board my plane in like 20 minutes. So let's see. So yeah, a lot going on, guys. How I've been doing? I've been doing okay. Up and down, Definitely watching. I'm definitely ready to go. As much as I love it here on this earth, I am also ready to leave. Okay, Chris, you said I love God, Jesus, but I feel like we lack the urgency to mitigate the suffering in the world. And before that, you said I'm actually annoyed on the over-celebration of his return it feels like a hard disconnection to the suffering in the world. Yeah, I know what you mean. And yeah, I think there's some truth, a lot of truth actually, to that criticism. Many people have criticized Christians in general who believe in the rapture about that. Like, a lot of non-Christians say that, and it is, I mean, in a way it's kind of true. But I think it is kind of what it is. Like, we just know that there's a limit to this world. There is no real solution here. So for us, the solution is Jesus Christ returning, him rapturing his church first, the 7-year tribulation happening so that Israel comes to faith in Messiah. The world comes to faith in Messiah. They get chastised. Then Christ comes and brings the kingdom of God onto the earth, eventually leading to the kingdom of heaven 1,000 years later. And that's our solution. So it may seem callous that we're like, oh yeah, Trump's about to go to war with Iran. Super excited. I am too. Of course, I'm not excited about anybody dying. I wish that this was not happening, in a way. On the other hand, we know that the ultimate result is Jesus comes back, and that is our solution. And Jesus is the ultimate caring, the ultimate help for any people, right? So what we do here is limited. At the same time, I do believe that as Christians, while we're here on the earth, we should always be thinking about other people, how to help them, how to make the world a better place, however we see fit. Some people feel that that's politics, voting a certain way. I don't personally think that's the best way, right? Although that's not true. I believe politically, like if we're here another 10, 20 years, I might even get more involved in political movements, not so much political, but like helping people. There's things that I believe in that will help the world that I want to be involved in and that I am involved in. So I think that a lot of Christians do that in their individual ways. They do help the world get better. But that's usually private. Most people don't see what we're doing to help other people. What they do see and hear is us online or with friends saying, the world's about to end and we're excited. And that seems callous, but I think it's a little more balanced than we sometimes realize, if you know what I'm saying. So yeah, I know a lot of liberal channels and leftist channels that I like and watch, and a lot of them are non-Christian. They criticize matter of fact, I have a leftist friend who is not a Christian, and I told him about the rapture, and he's like, yeah, but your rapture thing makes you like callous to the world. You just want the end. So I understand that criticism, and I accept that criticism to some degree.
Your attention, please. There is an operational issue affecting the trains to the terminal and other concourses. Airport personnel are responding to address the issue. We will provide updated information as it becomes available.
What? Yeah, no big deal. We just have some issue with the planes. Random announcement. Which planes? All of them? Dang, and this plane I took, this is Spirit Airlines, they went under. This is the next cheap one. And my Lord, it's horrible. I've never been on a more bumpy plane ride in my life, with the weird noises, loud noises that are scary as hell. They have no free water, no free snacks. Everything is paid. They don't even give you water on the flight. There's no Wi-Fi on the plane. I know I sound like for spoiled American, but I'm not asking for much here. So you're on the plane and you got nothing to do. Hopefully you brought a book. And luckily I did. I brought David Jeremiah's book about the rapture. And I've been reading, I downloaded a bunch of books before I took off. I've been reading a book about 70th week of Daniel. And it's so good, guys. I posted some of it on my wall. I'm learning a lot from it. I'm going to make a video about it. Matter of fact, this morning after Bubba News video, I had a realization that I'm wrong about something with the state of Israel. With the Jews, I want to correct it. I'll make a video. And this 70 week of Daniel book, which is random, totally separate, is also having me understand the same idea. So let me just give you that scenario real quick. So I believe, and Philip Barnett says that I believe I got this right, that Israel is going to attack Iran with America and all these other Middle Eastern countries with nuclear weapons. Matter of fact, I just saw a video. This is actually what really said to me, right now I need to get on live. Because they're saying that Trump talked to Netanyahu and the other Arab people on this call, and there was no deal. No deal. They're going to go to war. And I just heard a report about 30 minutes ago from Mark Allison 88, who says that the new Iranian supreme leader was just killed. No other news network has reported that yet, but they might be keeping it hush hush. So maybe he has an inside source. It's possible. So we'll see if that's actually true. That would be a big deal, which means obviously there's not going to be a deal after that. They're going to go to war with, which is what we know they're going to do anyway. This deal stuff is it's literally just theater for the masses whoever will buy it, you know. And so they're saying that, or Mark Allison is reporting that Israel is going to launch nukes at Iran. I probably should have started the stream with that. Sorry you had to wait however long it's been to hear that.
Attention, please.
So I got to report
Your
that.
attention, please.
Let me hear if I have to listen
There
to this.
is an operational issue affecting the trains to the terminal and other concourses. Airport personnel are responding to address
okay.
the issue. We will provide updated information.
All right, I don't think that's me. I think that's talking about the trains to get here. So I also have to not miss my plane. So let me focus on the time here before I get too carried away with you guys. Yeah, I got to go in like 15 minutes or so to board. So yeah, he's saying that Israel's going to launch nukes at Iran most likely, probably this weekend, potentially. And so, yeah, well, this is all pointing to a rapture. This is all pointing to this thing wrapping up here for us. And, you know, the Jews getting into play. It's like they're on the bench right now. 144,000 are, you know, on the bench waiting to get in the game. Once we get taken out the church or the bride, whoop, we're swept out and then they go in. Then, then the two witnesses come in. So, you know, Philip Barnett says that he believes Israel's going to lash out, or actually he says God showed him this. Israel's going to lash out at the countries around them with nuclear weapons, which is what we're hearing right now, like literally right now, that they're saying they're going to do that, or somehow it's been heard. Then right, okay, so if that happens, do you think Iran is just going to sit idly by? While Israel, who they want off the map, people say, oh, they're just going to hit us with nukes and we're not going to do anything? Of course not. This is going to start World War III. So they're going to hit back, and they're going to enrage the entire world, which they already are. You can see tons of news reports about this, how Israel's favor is with the world, everybody, is plummeting. With Republicans, with Democrats already, that's already been, but even Republicans, especially young Republicans. So the world is going to turn against Israel because of the atrocities that they're doing. So it makes sense that Israel would just, in my view, in their own pride and ego and greed and all these bad things, bomb these countries, take this land. Even if it is God's land and God, you have to do it at God's direction. You can't just go in and do something out of your selfish desire and say God told you to do that. That's wrong. God didn't allow that even in the Old Testament, right? Remember there were times where he said, go kill those people? No, wait, they have 120 years before their sin has reached its fulfillment. I'm giving them grace. Don't you touch that land. Can you imagine? They went in and they went and killed those people. God would, that's smiting time. Hey, am I allowed to be over here? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Don't touch that board, you're
Okay. I won't touch nothing. Thank you. So, trying to keep a low voice, but a lot going on, guys. It's exciting times to be alive. So, okay, so Israel does
Your
that.
attention, please.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Your attention, please. There is
Let me read you all comments while I'm
operational issue
getting
affecting
bombarded.
the trains to the terminal and other concourses. Airport personnel are responding to address the issue. We will provide updated information as it becomes available.
Word up. Yeah. So, yeah, he was just saying, Chris, and I'm glad you guys are chatting about it in the comments. I saw Kimberly was responding to you, and yeah, it's cool, you know. And so yeah, so a lot going on. Israel might do this thing with our help. I think that's obviously on the horizon at some point, if not this weekend, probably this weekend. And potentially next week. Also, Trump said that too. He said, yeah, he basically told us, right? Even a few days before, he was like, yeah, you know, we're trying to do a deal, but it probably won't work, so we'll probably attack them Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and early next week. He literally said that, which is exactly what the Watchmen are all saying right now, and it's all around Pentecost for us. So the world turns on Israel even more. The Arab nations then go after Israel. Okay, this is where my thinking is changing. Perhaps once that happens, once the Arab nations really, really go after Israel, because right now they're not, you know what I mean? There's hits here and there, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, but they're not like bombarding. So once that happens, once these Arab nations go, that could be the Psalm, what is it, 86 or 83? Psalm 86 war, I believe, where the nations do surround Israel. Okay, that's that Left Behind scenario with the guy from Doogie Howser, that famous clip in one of the Watchmen channels that, the airs are just, or the planes that are trying to attack Israel are just like exploding in the air. And he's like, all I can say is this all-out assault on Israel, there's a supernatural protection. So in my last video, I said, I don't believe that God will supernaturally protect the people who reject Jesus in Israel, but he will protect the remnant. I still basically believe that, but there's a little extra element, I think, here. Perhaps that's when the protection happens. So Israel does some offensive, some like insane offensive, which they've been doing. I mean, Israel is literally just on the insane madman offensive. There's no breaks. Okay, if you guys look into it, if you want to, you don't have to, but like the things that they've been doing with prisoners, right? The grapes that have been happening to prisoners, the things they've been doing to children for a long, long time, even before this, which increases, right? They just had, I think there was a flotilla going into Israel, which is just people who are like breaking the embargo, who are bringing food and supplies to the people of Palestine.
Your attention, please.
And
there is an operational
sorry for this,
issue
guys.
affecting the trains to the terminal.
It's the downside of doing this in an airport.
Airport personnel
So
are responding to address the issue.
I definitely got to make sure I don't miss my plane. It's important.
As it becomes available.
My friend who I'm going to visit told me to board the plane 30 minutes early. She's like, listen, you need to do this. You need to go 30 minutes earlier than you usually would, which means like 2.5 hours early, like 2.5 hours before my flight. She's like, Satan is going to try to stop you, this and that. And I'm like, okay, I think 2 hours is enough. Like, 2 hours is a lot. Although they already say 3 hours, whatever. So I believe, guys, that we're going to see this offensive soon. I believe we will be gone somewhere in there, either before or soon after. Then once these nations come against Israel, perhaps God then does protect Israel, as most of the Watchmen believe. And at that point is when Israel starts to turn back to the true God of Israel. Because right now they're just fighting on their own power. They got the Iron Dome, which is failing now. They've got America, right? That's why we are so heavily involved in this, because we are their God, essentially, right? They're looking to us as their protection. They can't do it without us, right? That's why we're involved in this thing. They are relying on America and not God. So there comes a time when they're going to have to rely on God. Perhaps that's when all these nations go after them. Some people have said it's when Israel or America stops supporting Israel. I don't see that happening until the very end, once the beast throws the woman off the back. But I don't see that anytime soon, not with Donald Trump in charge. Donald Trump is not going to leave Israel's side, period. That's why he's put in there. He's the perfect one. He said he could run for prime minister in Israel and win. He said he has like a 99% approval rate. And then he floated the idea of doing it. Hey, maybe after this, I'll run for prime minister of Israel. This is who this guy is. He's Benjamin Netanyahu 2.0. He's his twin. So, but I believe that if Israel is attacked by all these nations, America's not going to be able to protect Israel. Okay, with this whole Iran thing, with the Strait of Hormuz, how Iran is running the Strait of Hormuz with a toll now, even though the American propagandists come on and say, no, we own it, we run it. No, you don't. They're just straight lies, nonstop lies. But they have to do that because they have to maintain the appearance of American supremacy. What we're realizing now with this, and myself included, and trust me, I'm no nationalist, nothing. I'm not into any of that, but I bought the lie about American supremacy. Oh, our military's the best. Nobody can touch us. God, this place is too noisy. So annoying. I don't know how much that cuts into my voice, but
issue affecting the trains to the terminal
everybody's on their walkies.
and other concourses. Airport
I wonder if
personnel
that's,
are responding to address the issue.
I don't know.
We will
We'll see.
provide updated information as it becomes available.
Trying to get this idea out. Sorry, guys. Thank you for being here, by the way. Hey, what's up, Denise? How you doing? Good to see you. Zabaloo. What up? What up, everybody? So yeah, I'm realizing that this whole American exceptionalism thing, that's the word I was looking for, not supremacy. American exceptionalism is not actually true. Okay. Yes, we have a great army. Our guys are great. Our girls are great. Our non-binaries are great. I'm not saying anything bad about them, no. And we probably are the best in the world. Maybe that's not even true, but let's say that's true, which could be. Still, if all the Arab nations attack Israel, we're not going to be able to do anything. And so what we're seeing with this Iran thing is like, oh, we used to be the best because we used to bomb everybody. We had the biggest bombs and this and that. But what we're finding is military nowadays, military and warfare, it's not about like who has the biggest bomb and the biggest ships. It's about who has the drones that are cheaper to create and use, who has the better intelligence, who has the better, in the case of Iran, the terrain. If we send our troops into Iran, we're done. There's no winning there. Everybody knows that. It's a suicide mission. It's like the beaches of Normandy, right? We've all seen that in movies. They just step onto the beach and it's just like a bloodbath. That's what it would be if they try to take Karg Island or try to put troops into Iran to do the regime change, which is necessary. If you're going to do regime change, you need boots on the ground. So Netanyahu has said that recently. They asked him, do you think the Iran war is over? He said, no, it's not over. Again, he's our boss. He's Trump's boss. Not our boss. He's Trump's boss. So he's the king, right? And Trump is the prince or whatever. So he said, no, there's still, uranium underground and American troops will have to go in there and get it and die for Israel. So I don't know necessarily that they'll do that, but maybe they'll use nukes instead, right? Maybe they'll try to do air power or something like that. So I believe that's where we're coming up to. Then once God protects Israel supernaturally, I don't really see that happening right now. Now, some people point to certain things in history. Oh, that was supernatural. Okay, maybe, I don't know, but it's not like everybody knows it. There's debate. The Iron Dome is not supernatural protection, okay? America, like stealing our money and sending our guys to die there and girls and non-binaries. I have to say that every time. That's not using God's protection. That's not supernatural protection, okay? So, all right, I got to end this soon because everybody's looking at me. I'm talking too loud. My voice is going to carry through this whole place. Everybody's getting the message. Jesus died for our sins, and if you believe in Jesus, you're saved. It's just so much to say. I know. I thought of that too, like not going to the airport. I was nervous when the plane was getting bumpy, and this is how my mind works. I project, and I'm picturing it going down, and I'm just like, Like I was literally like, I mean, I have an active imagination. I'm a filmmaker, so I always think in movie shots and movie scenes, So I'm seeing like how it would happen. Would it happen when we land? Are we going to go in the water? Meanwhile, I took the seat that you have more legroom, but you have to be willing and able to help if there's an emergency. So you're right next to the emergency exit. So they're like, okay, you guys, you got to study this stuff before we take off. So it's like serious. It's not like you're just sitting in So it's always serious. But anyway, I was kind of picturing like fire coming through and just burning me up real quick. And I'm like, okay, that would be a cool way to go. Like, forgive me guys for being morbid, but who knows? Who knows? But so just to get this out real quick, that and I'm going to make a separate video on this because this is an important point that I'm realizing. Once God supernaturally protects Israel, I believe at that point is when we see the national revival. That's the first 3.5 years of the tribulation. Now, the weird part is after God protects Israel supernaturally, there's repentance. Perhaps they start to repent and realize, oh my God, we killed the Messiah. Because a large part of Israel will wake up to this. You'll have the 144,000. You'll have the 2 witnesses. By the way, there is an issue here. I'm watching a bunch of security guards I don't know what's going on. So anyway, I'm probably gonna have to get going in like 5-10 minutes, guys. Getting weird looks over here because I'm talking loud. But just real quick, that God protects. They have this thing, and at the same time, the Antichrist comes on the scene. So now you have the Antichrist, the two witnesses, the 144,000. So you have like this civil war, this split, this chasm in Israel, right? You have a bunch of people who are accepting Jesus as Messiah. They actually come to true faith. Then you have the people who are being deceived by the Antichrist and the false prophet. That goes on for 3.5 years, it seems. And at the 3.5 year point, after the Antichrist is killed, perhaps resurrects. The book I'm reading, they say he resurrects. I don't generally think that because I don't believe Satan has that power. But, you know, he sits himself in the temple, claiming that he's God. He brings the mark of the beast and that stuff. That's when I believe God will take his people out of Israel and protect them in the wilderness. At that point, I don't think God's supernatural power is any longer on the state of Israel or the city, maybe on Jerusalem in some way, maybe just to protect certain like places or buildings, but I don't think the people are supernaturally protected at that point because they've made their decision and they're slated for literal hell, right? I mean, if you're ready to take the mark of the beast, you're done, whoever you are. So I don't think the nation, so yeah, I hope that makes sense. But so I think they're, you know, I always believed in a national revival, but I think the timing is in that first 3.5 years. And that's why the people are so mad, right? And they hate these two witnesses, and when they die and they're in the streets for 3 days, they're celebrating because they're like, they don't want anything to do with Jesus again, right? Like the first time. Many of them didn't. This time it's the same thing, but there are many Jews in Israel and Muslims and everybody who's going to accept Messiah, the true Messiah, Yeshua. And, you know, they're going to have signs and dreams and visions and all kinds of miracle power going on again, like it was in the Old Testament, right? Not spotty here and there. I'm not sure about that prophet. Let me check. Oh, I'm a prophet. I get things wrong. And I understand where people are coming from with that. But I believe that in the 70th week of Daniel, it's not going to be like that. You're back in the old days with, I mean, literally Moses and Elijah are here just walking around doing miracles. And so are the other people. So, and in the 70th week of Daniel, Gabriel tells Daniel that, you know, this is the time for your people to seal up the dreams and visions. It's one of the things he mentions. Interesting, right? So I believe those dreams and visions will come back in that last week, that last 7 years, giving the Jewish people the best possible outcome, time to accept Jesus, right? And God supernaturally just protected your country. Everybody knows that God is Yahweh, right? So, but they still defect, which is the story of Israel, right? Right after the splitting of the Red Sea, they make the golden calf. This is the same thing, I believe. In the beginning of the tribulation, God protects them in the first 3.5 years. They still accept the Antichrist, right? Because the Antichrist will probably say, well, that's my God. He's the one who protected you. So, yeah, there's a lot more, but yeah, it's interesting. Because, and that's a pretty common end time scenario for most watchmen. You know, I'm very unique in that, like, my position is very unique in that I'm one of the only watchmen who believes essentially mostly what the other watchmen believe about Israel, well, like about the end time scenarios and stuff. But I'm not a Zionist in the way that they are. So that's extremely rare, right? It's usually one or the other. You're usually super duper Zionist, watchman person, which most people are. Or if you're not super Zionist, you throw away everything, right? You throw away the rapture, you throw away pre-tribulation, you say, oh, Darby created it for the state of Israel. An example would be Tillahoon. Brother Tillahoon, who I love, and I love his videos. I've been talking to him in the comments. But recently he came to the understanding about Israel and he became like super non-Zionist. And in the process, he's reworking his whole eschatology and he doesn't really believe in all the pre-trib dispensational stuff anymore. So I'm in a very unique position, interestingly, that I still hold these dispensational premillennial dispensationalism, pre-trib rapture, all that stuff. But I'm not super pro-Zionist where I think like, yeah, Israel can do no wrong. It's all good what they do. And you guys are in that camp too, I believe. A lot of you see what's going on and you're not like just in blind allegiance to this country, right? So, but it's interesting because, you know, and I still have that tendency to believe that dispensationalism is not true and pre-trib rapture is not true, because I am in no way supportive of what Israel's doing right now. In no way. Zero. Right? I mean, the best I could do is say 1948, the British gave them some land. Was it their land to give? Was it the Brits' land? I mean, that's even debated in 1948. But let's say we say, okay, 1948, like, do you believe the Jews deserve a homeland? Do you believe they have the right to exist? The state of Israel has the right to exist? When they asked Tucker Carlson, he properly responded by saying, what do you mean right to exist? No countries have a right to exist. There's no country in the world that says that. Does America have a right to exist? No. If Israel came and took over, it would be Israel or the French or whoever. Well, that's why people fight wars and try to keep their positions, whatever. Nobody has the right to exist. Peoples have a right to exist. Yes, absolutely. But a country, that's different. It's a different thing. So as far as, do Jews deserve a homeland? That's a whole question. I won't get into that too much. But I remember talking to some super Zionist Jews about that, and they were like, we're persecuted everywhere. We don't have anything. We don't have any land. We need the land in the Middle East. That's just so happens to be occupied by other people, the Arabs. But it's our land, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, we don't have anywhere. I'm looking at them, and I'm in Brooklyn. They own half of Brooklyn. What are you talking about? You don't have anything. I live in your community. You own everything there. What are you talking about? You own like major bridges and buildings in New York City and other major cities. Like, what are you talking about? You have nowhere to go. And now you get to take free aliyah, free trip to Israel, get your expenses paid, get your abortions paid for. They have free health care in Israel. We ain't got crap. And we're giving all our money to them. I mean, don't get me started. Obviously, don't get me started. But what I'm saying is, let's just say, yes, the Jews deserve, they have a right to exist. And obviously the Jews have a right to exist. I'm not saying that. I'm saying Israel has the right to exist. 1948, let's say, whether it was a move of God or not, I believe God allowed it to happen. Let's say, okay, Israel's there. Let's just have the Israelites and the Arab people there live in peace. That would be great. And that's why people talk about a two-state solution, to try to do that. The problem is Israel wants all the land. They continue to take more land. Right now they're taking Lebanon. They just took Gaza. And finally they're admitting it. And even, right, who was the guy? Pompeo. Was it Pompeo? Mike Pompeo says the same thing. Yeah, I don't care if they take all the land. Okay, now you're getting into, that's where it's wrong. That's where it's really, really wrong. So most people, even super leftists, who are non-Zionists, they say, hey, look, yeah, Jews can live there, fine, but you need to go back to the 1965 borders, or maybe 67 borders. And the UN says the same thing. Yes, Israel has a right to exist, but they need to go back to their original borders that was given to them in the beginning. But after 67 and 65 or whatever it was, they took more land that wasn't theirs. They're expanding too much. It's called the Greater Israel Project. So that part of it, I don't believe is God's will. I don't believe. Anyway, it's such a complicated thing, and I got to go board this plane. But I'm going to make another video about it, and I love you guys. Hope you're having a good weekend. Indy Coconut says 100% with you. Awesome. Appreciate that. Totally. Yeah, if you really, really study the conflict in Israel with Palestine, with Gaza, with 1948, what really happened there, what the people there call the Nakba, the Great Disaster, I believe, or the Great Mourning, right? And I'm not on either side. I'm saying, if you actually just fully study the history of it, you will really wake up and you'll see what I'm talking about. So a lot of people haven't really, really looked into it, and I get that. It's, you don't have time to look into everything. But a lot of people are just going on what, the churches say, what the super pro-Zionist, Christian Zionist churches say, and what even in some cases what the Watchmen are saying. And unfortunately, the Watchmen community, a lot of them are rabidly pro-Zionist. It's very detrimental to the cause, because you're essentially turning off most of the world right now, because most of the world is not Zionist, because they realize what's going on. So yeah, if you just study the history of the conflict, you're going to be like, oh wait, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Wow, no, there's a lot more to this than they were telling me. Right? Because Fox News and the churches spin it like, oh, Israel's perfect, they do nothing wrong, they're the victims. They literally spin the narrative. They're literally lying. Right? It's the opposite of what they're saying. To the point where today, even though everything is happening and it's live streamed on TikTok, the older generation in particular is saying, no, Israel's cool, they're fine, because they've really bought the propaganda. But the younger people can't deny what they're seeing on their phones every single day. They're like, wait, no, I don't want to support the murder of babies that I see every single day, nonstop, murdering babies, infants, toddlers, children, women. They're like, no, I can't do that. And matter of fact, I oppose that, right? That's God, that's Jesus in my view. Jesus always opposed the killing, right? This is a big issue in the church, especially the right-wing church. The right-wing church hates abortion and they want to die on that hill. Okay, but they are absolutely missing the ball on this point. These are live children and they're being blown to pieces by the people that you're supporting. You're giving them money, you're giving them the weapons to kill innocent people. It's not cool. The world is waking up. They know. They're saying if your channel is anti-Zionist right now, it's going up, right? That's where it's at right now. So, as I board a plane, Lord forgive me, please be with me. I don't have a pager, you know what I'm saying? I don't trust pagers nowadays after those things that happened in Israel. And I don't vape, so you know they're not going to get me with the vape. Anyway. Yeah, Yeshua told us to love our neighbor. Exactly. Safe travels. Thank you. Appreciate that. It's only been 2 days in God's economy. Yeah, definitely. Everyone deserves a homeland, Chris says. Why are they mimicking the Nazis in the Holocaust? I do not understand why spread the suffering onto another people. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Who is doing that? Who's mimicking the Nazis in the Holocaust? I mean, Israel is. Essentially, Israel is acting like the Nazis did. Right? The Ubermensch, the Superman, the master race. That's the way Israelis talk. They're the master race. They're going to rule the world. You're going to be their slave. You already are their slave. They run pretty much everything. They are making laws that you can't criticize them. They've taken over pretty much most of the world, and now America, especially with this current president. They're taking all our money. He doesn't care if your gas price is up. He couldn't care less. He needs to do what they say. And they believe they deserve it because they're the best people in the world, and you're not as good as them. You're goyim. You're like a dog. And so, yeah. So, yeah, they're acting like the Nazis did. That's what the Nazis thought. So, this world is our homeland. Yeah, exactly. So Israel's doing that, definitely. I mean, and this is the tip of the iceberg, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you really study this, you really learn, like, how much they are being like the Nazis. Matter of fact, they were saying that, I don't know if it was Netanyahu or somebody else, it might have been Netanyahu, who, like, was reading Hitler's book and learning from him, or some other major, anyway, there's so much there. So, you know, people say it's sad that they were the persecuted ones and now they're the persecutors, yeah? So, anyway, guys, I gotta check my plane out. And I was getting some looks from this girl over here. I don't know if they were dirty looks or like approving looks. It was inquisitive. She's trying to hear what I'm on about. She could probably tell it's some political thing. And, you know, when you hear that, you probably are curious, like, do I agree with the person or am I angry? Do I want to yell at them? That's how I am anytime I hear somebody on the street corner yelling about God or Jesus or politics. I'm like, I want to talk to them, whether I agree or not. And I either want to debate or I want to say, yeah, I love what you're saying. So, God is good, guys. This weekend is really, really interesting, huh? Lord have mercy. At this point, it's like I'm on the plane. I had like a 2-hour flight. I land and I'm like, I'm getting some peace by not looking at the news. But as soon as I land, I go thinking like, I wonder what's going on. Let me check. And it's like, whoa, like what happened in the past few hours? It's at that point, guys. It's so accelerated at this point, and we're so close to the end, I believe. As the Jets are playing the Steelers, 1910 Jets. You know, people think they're just going to continue watching their football and their Super Bowls, and I'm not downing any of that. I'll do it too if I'm here. But hold up, I got to make sure I'm not late. Yeah, I got aboard. I'm a little late, actually. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I got to board my plane. Love you guys. I'll see you soon. Check you out later. Maybe I'll go later, live later. Maybe in the next few days when I get to my location. Maybe I'll make some videos. Definitely keep watching. We're watching what's happening. It's super. No carry-ons allowed? What do you mean no carry-ons allowed? Yeah, I'm so confused right now. I better pay attention. You know what? All right, guys. Yeah, I'll catch you on the flip side. Love you guys. Maybe see you in the air. Who knows? Might come sooner than we realize. Tomorrow's big. Pentecost. Love you guys so much. Peace. See you soon. Peace.